was a grove of trees where the forest grew thick. The trees had stood there for as long as anyone could remember, their roots intertwined so that nothing could affect one without affecting them all. They were known to the inhabitants of the forest, the four-leggeds and those who fly, as the Old Ones. In the middle of the Old Ones stood the oldest of them all, taller and broader than the others. If one stood beneath it, one could not see where its crown touched Father Sky, and the smaller trees grew around its roots in its safety and vastness. It was called the Ancient One, for it had known the Creator longest of all. Ancient It was to this grove that the creatures of the forest and the plains, the four-leggeds and those who fly, gathered for counsel. Each had sent one speaker, the oldest and wisest of its kind. Snow fell thick on the familiar paths, and each arrived in silence, waiting with the patience of those who have seen much. When the circle was complete, they sat together, listening to their hearts. The first to speak was the whooping crane.
They have lost their way. There is no pattern to their journey.
Then the deer mouse added softly,
They have lost their purpose. They do not gather seeds. They do not know who they are.
Tatanka the buffalo dropped his head low and said,
They take more than they need and give nothing back. They do not give anything away.
The eagle added his view.
They cannot see long distance. They keep more than they can eat, while others go hungry. They don't understand that they are connected.
The fox, her coat bright against the snow, spoke.
They do not know they are beautiful. They decorate themselves with stones. They hide their spirits.
The old beaver pondered sadly.
They think that power is what you can hold onto. They say, "This is mine," and they build lodges too large so that they themselves appear big.
Next, the bear's deep voice answered.
They must make others small so that they will look big. In the end, they must destroy themselves or others. They have lost their names and do not know who they are.
Grandmother Turtle, who was the last to arrive, made her way slowly to the center of the council. She lifted her head so that she could see all who had gathered beneath the old ones. Her voice was barely audible.
We must give away ourselves to them. We must speak to them in soft voices. We must remind them of who they are.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandmother's dreamings. We are a breath of the ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandmother's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
Grandmother Turtle paused, lowering her head into her shell. Then, suddenly, she lifted her head as high as her neck would allow and said with certainty,
I will give them my shell. I will come unprotected, and they can use my shell to adorn themselves.
Around the circle, the council was silent. The wind did not blow through the trees. Not a single branch on the old ones fluttered. The forest was still as Grandmother Turtle began her walk back to the empty spot in the circle. After a time, the whooping crane began slowly.
I will teach them the patterns of life. I will remind them of the seasons.
Deer Mouse was quick to chime in.
I will teach them to gather seeds so that no one ever goes hungry. I will give them what I have stored up.
The eagle searched the night sky and without lowering his head said,
I will give them my feathers. Perhaps if I cannot fly, they will not see themselves as small.
The buffalo stood with his legs squarely on the earth as he spoke.
I will give them my flesh to sustain them. I will give them my skin to keep them warm. I'll give my whole self away.
Each council member had spoken of the gift, that most costly portion of themselves that each would give away. When the circle was complete, a new voice was heard. In the shadow of the Ancient One came the presence of the Creator, speaking softly to the animals gathered there.
Oh, my children, you will give yourselves away, but they will not know that. They will say, "See what I have taken," and they will make themselves larger. It is I who must give myself away. I must give away my protection, so I come vulnerable to their lodges. I must choose to become small, and they will choose to see me large. I will give away my name so that they may know their names.
The Ancient One had stood silent. The sound of their voice had not been heard in many years. And when they spoke, the grove stilled to listen.
Creator, how can this be? How can the great mystery become small?
The shadow of the great tree became light as the grove of the old ones became full of the presence of the Creator. With patience and love, the Creator explained.
A baby will be born. He will be the son of the great mystery. He will not be born where two-leggeds dwell. He will be born where four-leggeds gather and the winged ones. He will bring light where there is confusion. He will bring hope where there is despair. And he will bring love, and his name will be great.
The Ancient One began to tremble, and those who fly left its old branches. The grove of the old ones moved in its quake as the tree asked,
Creator, how can I, whose name speaks only of my age, give away to this great mystery become baby? What can I give for my grove in the forest?
The Creator moved toward the Ancient One. The Creator's voice was low.
You will be his support. You will be his rest. you will hold his body in the beginning and at the end.
And the Ancient One wept, partly in joy and partly in sorrow.